All right, let's get started. Yeah, Vladimir Putin is meeting with the Chinese president as Ukraine tensions are rising. They met today.
Meeting there with China's president this morning as the Olympic kickoff. This as tensions are rising over a possible Russian invasion of Ukraine, and the first U.S. troops are now landing in the region. Our senior foreign correspondent Ian Pannell is on the ground there in Ukraine for us. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Cecilia. That's right. Lots going on. More diplomacy and talks, but interestingly, it's Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping this time as Russia and China strengthen their ties, not just in terms of trade, but also security, as this crisis in Ukraine still shows no sign of easing.
This morning, President Putin landing in Beijing for the start of the Winter Olympics and a one-on-one with President Xi. Both have strained
I can't believe they're repairing the Sino-Soviet relations, dude. You see that?
Relations with America. The Kremlin claiming China agrees with its security demands over Ukraine, though Beijing hasn't quite put it like that. This as the first of 1,700 American paratroopers landing in Europe, as part of President Biden's order to send 3,000 US troops to bolster NATO's eastern flank, as tensions remain over the Russian troop buildup on Ukraine's borders. Meanwhile, the Biden administration claims the Kremlin's plotting a false flag operation to justify an invasion of Ukraine.
One option is the Russian government, we think, is planning to stage a fake attack by Ukrainian military or intelligence forces against Russian sovereign territory or against Russian-speaking people to therefore justify their action.
The administration not offering any evidence, but warning that Russia could even release...
The administration not offering any evidence, just saying they're going to do that.
These fake images to justify sending troops in.
We believe that Russia would produce a very graphic propaganda video, which would include corpses and actors that would be depicting mourners and images of destroyed locations, as well as military equipment at the hands of Ukraine or the West.
Releasing this type of intelligence is unusual.
This was obviously a calculated risk for the U.S. and for the UK to be able to release this kind of sensitive intelligence, but they figured that it would...
We also famously watched, or not famously, but like we watched a video that went viral about this particular piece of evidence coming directly from the State Department yesterday, where the Associated Press is like, you know, one of their foreign policy guys literally was just like, but where's the evidence? And he kept asking, like, where's the fucking evidence then? It's just, we got to take your word for it. Like, there's no evidence. And yeah, so that's Matt Lee. Yes, we watched that 5-minute video. Oh, let's continue.
To preempt any pretext that Putin would have by staging some sort of action.
Yikes! America leaking Russian memes before they get the chance to get interactions. I know,
using
it's fucked
it as
up.
an excuse to invade Ukraine.
The Kremlin denying the allegations and that it plans to attack, but at the same time, its forces continue to mass at the border. NATO says it expects Russia to deploy as many as 30,000 combat troops along with additional military units into Belarus, just north of Ukraine, for planned war games.
Well, Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov has been speaking this morning, saying such claims, the number of which keeps growing every day, are nonsense. But the administration...
Can you imagine, like, it's like post 9/11, like coming off the heat of that, like, reactionary wave of support, the Bush administration is like cooking up how we will, you know, we're in Afghanistan. How will we go into a environment that is ripe with natural resources? You know, Dick Cheney is like, he's got the maps. He's got like Halliburton on the map with like all these other fucking oil companies that mapped out. Okay, they've already fucking divvied out the bountiful sum. Okay, of Iraq's natural resources. What do they come up with? They say, we're gonna say that they have weapons of mass destruction. Okay, they got you know, chemical agents, weapons of mass destruction. We need to go in there. They bring Colin Powell out. He's the fucking nice guy in the room. You know what I mean? He's like the serious, you know, esteemed, you know, honest guy. He's not as reactionary, you know? Bring him out. He lies to the entire fucking planet. It's go time. Okay. Now, right now, the fucking virgin Biden administration, on the other hand, fucking 20 years later, literally talking about like, they're doing memes. They're doing the memes. They're gonna do memes. They haven't done the memes yet, but these are very powerful memes and they're gonna do it. So we need to fight back immediately. Like, Russia's gonna do memes again. Just make better memes. Literally make better memes. Okay? What's going on? If they're doing really powerful memes, why don't you meme harder? I don't know, like fucking show Putin actually had like a fucking lap band. You know what I mean? Like, Putin actually is not sexy when he takes his shirt shirt off. That's a lie. Like that's photoshopped or something. Like that would fucking destroy them. You would own them so hard. Something like that. Just hit him where it hurts, dude. But no, they won't. They're too afraid. Thank you, Rainbow Bun 623 for the 5 gifted subs. They're just too afraid of the mimetic potential of Russia. Steven Donziger is free. That's awesome. Okay, not gonna lie, kind of shocked that the U.S. hasn't staged the Ukrainian-Russia attack with Christ actors, both the Russian and Ukrainian troops, and leaked it. The new seasons are bonkers, dude. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they literally have a fucking domestic abuser. That is pretty bonkers. 90 Day Fiance was like domestic assault. That's fucking content. Keep filming. Kidnapping, fucking content, dude. Keep filming. Do not turn it off. So anyway, aside from the fucking memes and dreams, though, the other part of this story that I love hearing is NPR in the morning telling me that, you know, these are two authoritarian leaders, and they are literally, like, they're not, you know, these are autocrats. These are brutal, violent autocrats, and us in the UK and America coalition, we hate that the Winter Olympics are being in Beijing, so we're just gonna fucking protest it on our own. It's like, all right, bitch, go have fun. I mean, fuck the Olympics in general. It's not great as an institution. It's like literally a gentrifying vehicle. But having said all that, like, they're like, oh man, the autocratic leaders are getting together and fucking doing a show of force. And like, I was thinking, the Biden administration just flexed yesterday that they killed 13 civilians, dude. Like, the Biden admin was like, oh shit, our numbers are dipping. Time to go murk one of these like fucking new ISIS leaders, okay? And then they ended up killing 13 fucking civilians in their precision strike, 6 children and 4 women, just to get this one fucking dude. And they flexed on it. Like, that was like a big flex for the whole day, for the day's news cycle. And NPR was like flexing alongside the Biden admin. And then we turn around and we're like, look at these authoritarian, bloodthirsty, genocidal maniacs. I'm like, bro, what? We are also genocidal maniacs. Like, this doesn't absolve Vladimir Putin or Xi Jinping or anything like that. Don't misunderstand me. But like, we are also bloodthirsty maniacs. So it's just like, it's always funny when the United States is like, oh, you're abusing human rights. He's suicide vested. Yeah, dude. Totally, dude. I totally believe that. 100%. Get the fuck out of here, dude. They said that exact same shit in Kabul too, okay? That was not that long ago. It was a couple months ago. They said this exact same shit. They didn't say it was a suicide vest, but they said the exact same words. They said a secondary explosion caused all these people to die. Not our fucking Hellfire missiles. It's just like, it's so dumb. Don't be such a dummy. Official statement from US was an accidental explosion that killed the civilians. That shit is so fucking weird to me, to be like, dude, I fucking hate Chinese human rights abuses. Our human rights abuses, on the other hand, excellent.
Administration clearly feels otherwise. George?
Ian, panel, thanks.
So that shit is like, that's wild, okay? That is wild and pretty funny. What's obviously not funny is the top of the hour ad break, especially when it's 13 minutes in, you know what I mean? And I forget to run it. Was it not a secondary explosion that was caused by the initial explosion? Dude, they always say it's a secondary explosion that killed all the civilians because they want to absolve themselves of any sort of fucking guilt, okay? That's why. You were kind of doing clean your room shit, JP, not gonna lie. Well, you're a fucking idiot. You're a dumbass. I feel Hasan's take on this will be bad. Low-key pro-Putin. I love Vladimir Putin. Like, I'm such a fan. I think he's so hot. He's so sexy. Anyway, yeah, I'm super pro-Putin. I love Putin. He's just my favorite leader. And Erdogan too. Until he's responsible for the deaths of thousands of Americans, then you're gonna be on the FBI watch list. If you think I'm not already. Anyway, let's continue. As far as the fucking take goes, as far as what I was talking about, like, the clean your own room shit is so fucking stupid because, hey, here's my take, okay? You can fucking complain all you want about what Vladimir Putin is doing. You can complain all you want about what Xi Jinping is doing, which I do, okay? I admit that they're fucking bad, okay? When they do bad shit, I admit that they're bad, especially Putin. But you also have to fucking remember that, like, I have no say over what the fuck he can do. But me and this community technically is supposed to have somewhat of a say over what we are doing. We are Americans, right? And we're supposed to have a say over what the American government does. So when I talk about what the fuck is going on in America and like what our involvement should be, everybody always is like, why aren't you yelling about the other side? It's like, just say you like what America's doing and you think it's an appropriate and proportionate response, you fucking pussy. policy is just so weird and cowardly whenever you fucking turn around and you make it seem like, oh man, I hate American imperialism, but it's kind of cool to do it in this situation. I hate American imperialism, but we should do it in this situation as well. Only to fucking talk about it 30, 40 years later after the fact about how devastating it was and recognizing it when it's like in the fucking rear view mirror. So I'm here to explain it to you that like it's not that way. You don't have to do that. It's very frustrating. I see this all the time on the internet, especially in leftist fucking spaces, where there are so many people that regularly make it seem as though, is defending Ukraine really imperialism? NATO expansion is imperialism. You can defend Ukraine and say, hey, listen, you don't fucking touch Ukraine, and if you touch Ukraine, we're gonna actually move the troops into Ukraine, while simultaneously not make Ukraine a part of NATO. I completely understand why Russia, an independent nation, okay, I need you to understand this. Not every country on the planet is supposed to abide by like your personal rules and restrictions or whatever the fuck, and it's something that we don't give a shit about in most circumstances. Russia is a nation. Russia is a nation state on its own. It has its own desires, it has its own people, it has its own interests, okay? A lot of that is aligned with whatever the fuck Vladimir Putin is doing and saying at any given moment, because it's an authoritarian country, okay, led by a strong man. And the ridiculous part about this conversation is that, yes, of course, NATO turning, which is basically another protection racket, turning Ukraine into a fucking forward operating base into Russia is obviously fucking ridiculous. Like, it's not good. I personally don't think it's good, and I completely understand why Vladimir Putin doesn't think it's good. It's not good. It's terrible. Literally, why would we have NATO then? Great question. We shouldn't. We literally should not. Anyway. It's so weird, especially when people are like, I'm a leftist, fucking ACAB, but also love the fucking cops when they're NATO. Like, how? What do you mean? Like, what do you think American imperialism is? Like, what? If you're going to find yourself talking about, if you're going to find yourself on the opposite side of every contemporary American issue, if you're going to find yourself siding with like, oh shit, there's so much going on today, Jesus Christ. The anarcho-military industrial complex. Americans act clairvoyant when it comes to Chinese propaganda, then parrot U.S. State Department takes in shot about Russia. It's wild. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Iraq was justified by removing Saddam's regime. Look at it now. Afghanistan was justified by removing the Taliban. Look at it now. Vietnam was justified to stop Soviet aggression. Look at it now. This stuff needs to be stopped before it happens, and even though it always is an uphill battle, thanks for spreading the correct takes. I mean, dude, some of those are not built like the others, okay? Some of those situations are not built like the others. The Afghanistan story goes way, way before just would the Taliban need to be stopped. And it had nothing to do with the Taliban needing to be stopped either. It was because they said that the Taliban knew where fucking Osama bin Laden was and would not actually give him up, even though the Taliban literally was like, no, we'll give him up, but like we have some conditions, like there needs to be a fair and free trial or whatever. And America was like, we're not gonna fucking negotiate, shut the fuck up, we're invading regardless, yee baby. So, you know, Vietnam wasn't doing great for a very long time. It's doing fine now, but it wasn't before. Anyway, so it's really, really weird that you know, a lot of people routinely fucking look to history and recognize from a progressive and oftentimes leftist point of view that these incursions are often justifiable in the moment, or are presented as justifiable acts of aggression or justifiable acts of violence that is purely defensive at the moment, and then everybody gets whipped up into a fucking frenzy and think it's okay and appropriate to do, only to like go back to it 30 years later and be like, oh, I guess it wasn't a good idea, oopsie. Like, it's like, why? What the fuck? I'm telling you right now, it's not a good idea. It's literally so different though. No, it's not. It's not. The reason why we fucking armed the Mujahideen was because USSR was going into Afghanistan and the communist Afghan government was actually doing a fucking horrible job. So much so that the USSR was like, we don't want to intervene, but like, holy shit, we're gonna have to fucking intervene in this circumstance. And that part of the reason why was because the Mujahideen, armed by the fucking American government, going all the way back, going even before Reagan, the Mujahideen being armed by the American government and fucking getting goaded into acts of violence, were becoming a gigantic problem for the communist Afghan government to, you know, demand help from the USSR. That was deliberate. That was a deliberate strategic effort. At the time, the CIA doing that was totally seen as like the right and justifiable thing to do. Many people still think that it was the right thing to do, regardless. And then Operation Cyclone, which is a continuation of that program, where Ronald Reagan continued arming those fucking Mujahideen, which then turned into the Taliban, by the way. Okay, some of them were the Northern Alliance, and some of them were the fucking Taliban. And it's just like, it's so fucking strange, dude. The USSR murdered thousands of Afghan farmers in the 1980s. Yeah, they did. I know. It was fucking horrible. It played a big role in the complete destruction of the Soviet Union as well. Hey, if you like this video, please subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future videos.